The temperature is 39 degrees. It's the middle of January, and we're preparing in Zone 7 to tap our maple and black walnut trees. This is very simple. It's not at all complicated like everyone says. All you have to do is get a drill, a portable battery-powered drill, or you can use a hand drill. And you're gonna need some good spiles. I've got these. They're little stainless steel spiles, also known as taps. And you can get them on Amazon or eBay. I won't use the plastic ones for my application. I want something that'll last forever and that's dual purpose. I can do anything with these spiles. You can hook up hoses to them if you want. You can put the hose in a bucket with a lid on it so it can rain all at once and carry the buckets back, or you can actually hang pop bottles or drinking water containers. And you know, everybody's got a neighbor that is afraid to drink their water and goes out and buys drinking water in a gallon jug. Those are perfect. You take the same drill, a 5/16 drill bit, and you drill a hole in the side of the milk jug or drinking water carton. I don't recommend milk jugs because they make a funky smell. You don't want that. You want something better. Make sure you use a food grade bucket if you want to do it this way. I'll show you all the ways that I do it. Okay, this is a sugar maple. There's another one. And this one doesn't even have a lid. I just got this started. I used to use river cane. I would take pieces of river cane, but you take the drill bit and you either go straight in or just at a slightly upward angle. It doesn't have to be precise or anything. You can go straight in, it's just fine. You don't have to even put it at an angle up. And even if you go down, it's still gonna work. I've done what I could. Anyway, today you can see there's hardly anything in the bucket. And that's because it's just now rose to 39 degrees and we were freezing all night. And you don't want to mix birch with maple because it has a different kind of flavor. But you see all those jugs on the trees? Those are drinking water gallon jugs. And these little stainless steel spiles that I have a little notch in them. So the jug fits perfect. And see here, I didn't even put a hose. I just put the tap in the tree and let it drip right in the bucket. And like I said, it's not flowing yet, but as soon as the weather gets a little warmer, it will. And the reason that you want to wait until wintertime to do it is because the tree has extremely good sap during the wintertime. It's got all the food for the upcoming buds. In the summer, the sap's not full of sugars anymore. And the main reason why you don't tap when the weather's above 50-something degrees is because there's so little sugar in the sap that as it comes down and drips in the warmth, it immediately just sort of sours. And then there's these little vinegar gnats that fly around when the weather's warm. And all it takes is one of those to make it start turning into a little bit of a vinegar. Of course, it won't really be vinegar. There's not enough sugar for that, but the vinegar gnats will eat up the sugar. So anyway, this is how cool it is. See, there's a notch on there, and the thing kind of gets stuck on that notch. You just drill the hole, the 5/16 drill bit, same as you do in the tree, the same size those spiles are, and these are new spiles. They're a good kind. You should get these. Anyway, you drill a hole through and then stick your screwdriver in, and it makes sure that it's big enough to fit in there. And see, that's really well done. A wind's not going to take that off, especially once it gets full. But you see, you can put, like if it's a big tree, you can put 2 or 3 on it. But if it's a little tree, you can't. And black walnuts tap good too. I just found that out. I've never tapped a black walnut before this year, but I'm going to start tapping them because I've got a lot of black walnuts. And I had a major flood down in here, and it was about 8 years ago, and it washed away a whole bunch of my nice maple trees. So anyway, let's get through this bamboo. This is what we call the horse barn. because it keeps the horses out of the weather. As you see, we got a nice canopy that keeps all that off. And they love it in the summer and the winter. And you can see they've made a big old area out in the middle of this, just like a big barn. Anyway, we'll get through this. Well, I guess you know enough. The trick to it all is you can't do it in warm weather because the stuff spoils and has vinegar gnats, and it won't work. You can't do it in too cold a weather, like now, because the sap won't flow. And you can't do it before winter solstice, because these trees are all photoperiod. And that means that their sap doesn't start rising until the days start to get a little longer. Anyway, and the sap is really nutritious this time of year because it's feeding the buds. It's feeding the buds. See, I've got all these little, there's a bucket right there, and there's another one. There's two on this tree. See how that connects in the back? And there's a ridge there that it hooks onto. It's stuck on there. I can pull it real easy, but at least it holds. And look, I got quite a bit of syrup. I mean, not quite a bit. This bucket will fill up once it starts really dripping. You'll be seeing it drip, drip, drip like a really bad faucet that needs a washer. And it's not really dripping at all right now. It's just too cold. Just 2 or 3 more degrees, it'll be warm enough and it'll start flowing. And it is a little early. The sap's really not flowing so much yet. And don't worry if there's a little bark in there, because what you do is when you pour this stuff out into your other pan that you evaporated on top of the wood stove, you got a little strainer in there. You pour through the strainer. Anyway, see how tall those trees are? They're real tall. And sugar maple always has black on the bark. I think that's because of the mold that grows on it, because its real bark is tan, you know, under that. We're gonna have a good mushroom crop this year. See all that mycelium, this white stuff right here? That's the actual mushroom itself. And then it lives on that wood during the winter, and then on a spring warm day it's gonna suddenly wake up and shoot some blossoms up. That's what I call real mushrooms. They're the blossom for the mushroom itself. They're really just its flower to spread its spores. I love mushrooms. We pick a lot of them out of the woods. So here you go. They say you can tap basswoods. Those are basswoods. I've never tapped basswoods. They're too valuable for my bees. I might think into it if I learn more about it. Anyway, there is the way that is. See, got that on the maple tree, just hanging there. It's on there really firm. But see, you can just do that. Why spend all the money on the hoses? Just get the spiles. And this is all I did. I just bought 25 little spiles, and they're sure a whole lot better than what I was doing. I'll show you what I was doing. I was taking this river cane. Hang on. This tree got knocked over in a tornado. Tornado came right over this way and tore out everything, and it's still good to tap. Yeah, it was a tornado. I know because weather told me exactly where it was, and I said, hey, that's where I live. Came back the next morning, and after I heard it, all the trees were over. Okay, here's the river cane. Now, I don't use bamboo because the stems aren't round enough, but I used to take this nice river cane, has almost perfectly round, and I would cut here and use that as a spile, and stick one of its own little things right here to feed it through like a pipe cleaner, get all the pith out. But it didn't work very well because very often it would leak around the edges and I wouldn't realize it, that I was losing all that sap days later. And then also it splits a lot. But it works. It's better than nothing. Like elderberry spiles, you make do. But if you get those stainless steel spiles I was telling you about, they'll last for a lifetime. You don't want to bang on them with a hammer. I just use the back of my same screwdriver that I use to poke a hole after I drill the milk cartons or whatever they are, drinking water cartons. So that's all I can tell you about it. But you just boil it. Here's the secret. You boil it down on top of the wood stove. Just keep adding to it and adding to it. Every time you go out and get some more, keep adding to your pan. You want a nice wide pan. And then after you add to it, it starts to simmer. You start noticing it simmering and getting a darker color, and oh, the house smells like maple. Then after you simmer it down nice, you stop adding to it and you pour that into your containers, and it's ready. You'll know when it's ready. When all the water's gone, it gets a really nice simmer going. You can tell there's not much water in there. But if you don't get all the water out, it'll mold. I learned that the hard way. I gave it to friends, and they said, hey, I love that maple syrup, but that bottle, after it stayed in the fridge a couple of weeks, it molded. So you got to boil it out or you're going to get mold on it. That's all there is about that.